a little high.
There you go.
Good.
There you go. So welcome, 50 plus and fabulous. Another Money Monday we have going on today.
Yes, we're so glad to be here. This is always fun to be in this fabulous group of women over 50, very engaged group, always eager to learn. It seems like lots of views. So yeah, Purse Strings is great to be here. It feels great to be in this group every Monday at 1:30 Central Time. And Purse Strings, we created Purse Strings so that women have a one-stop shop to go for free tools, resources, information, education on how to make smart financial decisions for themselves and for their families. We found all the data told us that women were uncertain about their finances. Many didn't trust the female market. So not only do we provide women free tools and resources, but we also provide them a whole list, a cadre of different financial professionals. So everything from mortgage lenders to realtors, attorneys, financial providers, like we have Beth here today. She's one of our Purse Strings approved professionals. They've been provided training and information embedded by Purse Strings to serve a female market. So when you work with our professionals, they're always going to have your concerns front and center. They're not going to be there to push you a product. They're going to be there to walk alongside you and really help you out. So that's the mission of Purse Strings, is to really ensure women are what we call financially fearless by providing them free tools and resources and a whole group of financial professionals who are ready, willing, and able to help them out whenever they need it. So that's Purse Strings, and we're so glad to offer Purse Strings and our professionals to the 50 plus and fabulous group.
We're so excited to have Beth here today. Beth, where are you coming in from?
I'm coming in from Pennsylvania, central Pennsylvania. My firm is in New Jersey, though, so headquartered. But go back and forth a lot. Not with this COVID pandemic, but had previously. So,
yeah.
How far is that commute?
It's about 2 hours, a little over 2 hours.
Wow.
It's not bad. But you know what? I grew up in South Jersey, outside of Philadelphia area, so it's sort of like a triangle, right?
Okay.
You know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, she was just telling us she hiked part of the Appalachian Trail.
Yeah.
Doing part of that, so it's pretty exciting.
It's a lot of fun to hike the Appalachian Trail, and I usually go by myself, but a lot of times I just meet people along the way.
Mm-hmm.
So, it's a very friendly environment.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. Well, let me give a little intro to Beth, and then we can get started.
Okay.
So Beth's practice has been a special focus on educating and helping women and their families build financially secure futures. She has developed the Women and Wealth program that focuses on women's lifestyle choices and achievable financial goals. Beth started this new product in 2020 after realizing the financial planning needs to revolve around each person's life choices, including professional aspirations, family needs, travel, volunteer work, hobbies, health, fitness, and philanthropy. Her mission is to understand the daily realities that women face in terms of your financial needs, to find out what your dreams and your goals are for the future, and to work together to create a financial plan. It's awesome.
Perfect.
It's really very personal. It's so many financial planning programs. You just it's sort of like a software application. Just hit certain buttons and then they, put out a plan. It's not very personalized.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that financial planning needs to be.
Yeah,
definitely.
Absolutely.
We're so different.
It's your money, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's a great segue into this presentation, and now we'll give you the floor.
Okay. Well, I want to thank Barbara and Maggie for inviting me here today. And what I'm going to do is talk to you about what is socially responsible investing. And it's a topic that I'm very, very passionate about because I believe it is a way to use your money for a greater good, which is right here, making the world a better place now and in the future. In the past, investing was all about which industry or company you wanted to invest in and what your return would be. But now with social responsible investing, there are ways to invest in certain areas that will have a far greater impact on what our countries, our communities, and our planet will look like 25 years from now. You can do the next slide. Social responsible investing came to be more popular once the United Nations put together their new global initiative. This happened in 2015. This initiative focused on 17 sustainable development goals that were a call to action by all countries to promote prosperity while protecting the planet. These goals outline what we all need to do to make the world a better place to live in. I'm not going to go through each one of the goals, but I do want to tell you the ones that I am most focused on. One of the goals is no poverty and zero hunger. Another one is quality education for both boys and girls. Another topic is looking at gender and racial equality. And we know that topic has been very up in front over the past year. Another topic is climate action and clean and affordable energy, something that we all need to work on right now, but we're not. The other one is clean water and sanitation. And the last one that I focus in on is sustainable communities and cities where we can live in. The United Nations has a fabulous website on all of these goals. And I encourage all of you to go to Global Goals, and that's with an S.org, for more information and to look at the different programs that the UN is doing right now. With this background, let's talk about what is socially responsible investing. It is sustainable investing. It is also investing in progress. It's recognizing that companies can solve the world's biggest challenges. It is about finding new ways of doing business that are focused on a better future. You know, we all know the activist Greta, and she is most focused on this last one, trying to find a better future for all of us. So when you talk about social responsible investing, there's two frameworks that are sort of out there that many investment firms use. One of the frames that has been around the longest is this frame called ESG framework. And of course, the acronym there, stands for environmental issues, S is for the social issues, and G is for the governance. This particular model is very quantitative. It sort of rates companies on different factor models, and it has an algorithm. And most investment firms have been using this framework. I personally use a little bit of this framework when I do my investing, but the model that I use the most is actually a thematic framework. So you can go to the next slide. Yep. So this invests basically in these particular areas, and it basically looks at promoting sustainability directly. So we're looking at companies that can offer solutions in each one of these areas. And it particularly focuses on the environment and specific social issues. So you can see there at the top, the major topics are health, environment, human rights, equal opportunity, and accountability. Now, this framework was started by a nonprofit organization called yourstake.org. And it's a great sort of system that they put through. They did a lot of research on what sort of values and issues are most important to individual investors. And so we've sort of adopted this framework into our investment process. And I really like it because if you can see below, it's a little bit hard to see the chart here. But if you look below, this is actually an existing portfolio they took, right? And they put it through their sort of algorithm to see which companies they were investing in and, you know, what those particular companies were doing. And you can see how it ranks on different stuff. So for instance, it's doing quite a bit in human rights and also in equal opportunity, but not doing so much in the environment because of those sort of negative numbers there. So it sort of gives you a framework of like not only putting a portfolio together, but looking at that portfolio in terms of what its contribution is to certain socially responsible issues. Now, this particular framework, what I love about it is that it's actually based off of a values questionnaire that we give to our clients. And so it becomes a very personalized sort of an approach to investing. And let me just give you a couple of the questions that they sort of ask you in this questionnaire. They'll ask you things like, sort of asking you to rank different things of different statements. So, for instance, the statement, I go out of my way to reduce my environmental footprint. Do you strongly disagree with that? Do you disagree? Are you neutral about that topic? Do you agree or do you strongly agree? For me, I agree. I can't say I strongly agree, although I do have a daughter who is probably a strongly agree because she does everything, you know, her whole world is around reducing waste. She even uses cloth bags to store food in instead of, you know, plastic bags. Another sort of statement would be, I believe that actresses should earn as much as their male co-stars. You know, we know in lots of industries, particularly in the financial industry, you know, obviously in the entertainment industry, we know that women aren't paid as the same as men. So again, would you agree with this statement, disagree with this statement? I wholeheartedly, strongly agree with this statement. You know, just even my own experience, I know that I have not always been paid as much as my male, you know, colleagues in my firms that I worked in. Another question would be, society should fix problems like healthcare and education before devoting resources to climate change. So this particular question is asking you which topics are more important to you. Now, I agree that healthcare is really critical right now. So I would probably strongly agree with this particular statement, just given everything we've done with this whole pandemic. And, you know, if we didn't have both the education and the research labs that we have at a lot of pharmaceutical companies, you know, we wouldn't have the vaccines that we have today. So maybe that is more of a priority than climate change. I think that other activists out there would disagree because they would say, oh, climate change is more important because actually it was climate change that caused the coronavirus. So anyhow, I really like this sort of approach. So you go in and you fill out this whole questionnaire, and then basically what it does, it ranks things for you. It tells you what values are really important to you as a person. So from this information, okay, when I sit down with a client, I basically will look at those particular values, and then I have a whole slew of investment funds or individual stocks that I would invest in for that particular client. So the next slide. Now, I'm not going to go through a whole portfolio for you because I think that just gets to be a little bit too much. But I wanted to give you some examples of investment funds that you could invest in. Most of these four I have actually done research on. These are not recommendations. I'm just letting you know that. I have used them in the past, and some of these funds I'm currently using in portfolios. So for instance, if you wanted to invest in an environmental focused fund, there is a S&P 500 fossil fuel reserves free fund. So this is basically companies that are in the S&P 500 that are, basically reducing, their focus is they're not really polluting the environment as much. So also this would probably it excludes oil and gas companies, coal companies, the traditional companies that really do contribute to pollution. Another example of that you could invest in, which we had talked before about water resources, is PHO, which is a water resources fund run by Invesco. And this particular fund I really like because what it does, it invests not only in the water company, where you turn on the faucet and you get your water. It also invests in, say, the water meter out there. It also invests in companies that basically do the whole filtration of water that comes out of the reservoir. So it's really it's about providing water, but also, making sure that it's clean water. Now, from a social issue point of view, these are two examples I'm going to give to you. So one of the social issues that's actually near and dear to my heart is gender lens investing. And, that's really focusing on, providing equal opportunities for women. And this particular fund was started a number of years ago, it's probably now been 4 years. And it was developed by State Street. And you guys might know the Fearless Girl statue that, ended up down on Wall Street. That particular statue actually was commissioned by State Street and was based off of this fund. So this fund looks at S&P 500 companies that are very strong in promoting women, both on the board of directors and also in senior management. So it's a great investment if you're really concerned, that your daughter should have, equal opportunities as well as your sons. And then the last example that I'd like to give here is an iShares Biotechnology Index Fund. And this particular fund I like a lot when people have healthcare concerns. And so, as you know, with the vaccine, it was mostly biotech and big pharmaceutical companies that developed it. But also, there's a lot of biotech companies that look at specific cancer issues like skin cancer, or they look at rare disease issues. And so investing in this is basically investing in, biotech companies who take that money and then pour it into research to come up with new drugs and discoveries to sort of just improve healthcare overall, for individuals. So these are examples of social responsible investing. And I try to give this to people a lot because I think sometimes out there in the investment world, people don't really understand, like they just go, oh, social responsible investing. Well, if you do it from a thematic approach, you can see the different themes. And you can sit there and go, yeah, that one, I can check that one. That's something I'm really interested in. So,
hey, Beth, can I jump in for a second?
Sure.
So I love what you're saying here. And I think what the connection that's really important for me is, you might be talking over a coffee with your girlfriends or something and saying, God, can you believe, all those guys at the top of our organization, or I got overlooked, for promotion, or you're feeling and you're sensing some sort of, concern about, the disingenuous way that there's no women at the top.
Correct.
And how many organizations are, you look and they're all men making decisions. I don't care what company, it could be totally a female company, and, men are at the top. Or there's very minimal number of women at the top. So one way that we can kind of vote with our dollars,
right,
is by making these investments when we invest our money into specific funds like this. So
right, and many of these funds, particularly the She Fund,
yeah,
State Street is very much of an it is an index fund, but they are very active in terms of calling on these companies to address certain issues. So, if they don't end up in this, a lot of companies, you can go online and look, She Up. There's a lot of companies in the S&P 500 that are not in this fund.
mm-hmm,
And it's
mm-hmm,
exactly the issue you're talking about.
mm-hmm,
They don't
yeah,
have any, they don't, there's still a lot of S&P 500 companies. I mean, it's hard to believe this, but they still don't have any women on their boards.
right.
Or they don't have any women in senior management.
Right. And what I think is so cool is that we have the power by being aware of these funds and saying, hey, to your financial investor, not here's my money, make me a good return on investment, whatever, you don't know what they're investing in half the time. Now you can be socially conscious about when you take my money and invest it on my behalf, I want to make sure my money is working for the decisions and for my goals and for what's important to me in my life, which would be this fund. And it doesn't mean that I'm going to get a lower return on investment, does it?
No, absolutely not. Because if your financial advisor chooses the right funds for you, you should have good performance.
Great. So
it's not like because you do social responsible investing, you're going to get a lesser return. That there's been a number of studies done, and that's not true anymore. When it was first initially done, there were so few funds out there, right?
Yeah.
So you didn't have the diversity of being able to pick this one or that one,
Right.
They were mostly passive and they were all sort of quantitatively done. But now there's a lot of thematic funds like the water fund, right? That you can invest in. And it's not like you're going to put a ton of money in that, but in a portfolio, you might put 5% in a water fund. You might really feel very, very good about, you want opportunities for women. So you're going to put like 15% in that gender. Right. So there's a way that you can craft a portfolio around your ideas and still get a great return.
I love that.
Giving anything up by doing this.
I love it. It just goes full circle for me because it's not only women understanding their money and investing in their financial future, but investing in those funds that will ripple out and make great difference in the lives of others when you are aware of where your money is being invested and you are selecting and having a voice in that, making those decisions and then making it so powerful and impactful to the rest. So I really think that's so important.
And these are actually equity, examples that I gave to you, but there are fixed income bond funds out there. You probably heard that there's a lot of green bonds out there, but there's other fixed income funds who basically do the same thing. They do screens of the companies or they'll invest in a theme. And so you can do it with both stocks and bonds. You can really today, it used to be you could only do it on equities and there was very little offerings in fixed income, but now you can do like a 60-40% balance type portfolio. And it's all socially responsible investing. It's just, to me, it's so exciting. It's such a passion for me to be able to do this. And, for years I worked in institutional investment management. And I actually worked in an area of fixed income that really wasn't socially responsible, at all, and so to see that the investment community has gone so far to really embrace these kind of products, and particularly for individuals, now you can go buy it. It used to be 10 years ago, these types of opportunities were only, for corporate pension plans or, endowments, foundations invest, but now you can. Which is, and it's like you could take $5,000 and still invest in something like this.
Right.
You have to have a huge pool of money to get started.
Right.
You know?
Yeah, I love it. I love it. And I just think, like I said, it goes full circle for me. And then how would I get information on what they're doing with that money and how it's being used and kind of report back? Where do you learn about how that money is being invested in?
So almost all of these investment funds are managed by investment firms. And you can just go into their websites, or if you have a stock brokerage account, you can put in the ticker and it'll pull up all the information. You know, most funds have a fact sheet.
Yeah.
You know, it's like a 1 to 2 page fact sheet that just sort of gives you the top 10 holdings, gives you the performance information, you know, which industry sectors they're invested in, you know, what the sort of investment objective of that particular fund is. So all the information is sort of there for you. You can pull it right up and say, well, this is something I would. And you can glance at the companies and say, oh, yeah, I like that company. I like that company. This looks, you know, this looks like a fit for the type of values and issues that, you know, I'm concerned with.
Got it.
Obviously, there's, you know, you could buy like a overall healthcare fund now. And if you go look in, there's specific healthcare equity funds that you can pull it up. And they're going to be all the companies that have been involved in the vaccine.
Yeah.
It's Johnson and Johnson, you know, it's Pfizer. It's you know, it's those type of companies that are in that. So if you want to support, you know, what's happening today, you can go do it right now. I mean,
so you can just call your financial professional and say, hey, I've just learned about this. It's something I'm interested in. Let's have a discussion about the types of socially responsible funds that I can invest in, and maybe mention a few of these if those are the ones that you really want to go with.
And I really think whoever your financial advisor is, if they don't have, you know, we use a values questionnaire because we really want to get you thinking about this. We don't just want you to invest. We want you to really think about, like, what are my core values? What am I really concerned about?
Yeah.
And then once you talk to your advisor about that, and you know which themes and topics really interest you, then you can develop diversified portfolio, you know, around that.
Yeah, I love it.
Type of thing. And then, you know, you can also just do, you know, if you just all of a sudden you decide, I want to just, you know, I want to take a small amount of my money and I want to go invest in these healthcare companies. Yeah. You can do that too. So.
Okay. Yeah, I think it's great. Thank you. Thank you for explaining that to me.
So these are just examples that I wanted to give to you. And, you know, I think it's so important, particularly for women, to sort of align their own money with their own values. So, you know, this type of approach really does that. And in the process, you're making, you know, this world a better place to live in. It really is. And so this is one of my key initiatives, has been over the past 3 years, is to really help my clients understand socially responsible investing. And then if they're interested, to get started. So that's my presentation today. And if you have any questions, I'm willing to answer them.
That was great information and a great explanation of, you know, really how to get in there and get started. And I love, you know, the other thing about investing is women don't invest enough or early enough. That's everyone's biggest regret, is not investing early enough. And a lot of times we think it's because we don't have enough money.
Right.
But you're saying you could just get started with $5,000, which isn't outrageous. You know, most of the time you think it's like $250,000 or whatever it may be. So it's really nice that you share that number with us. And so you know that, you know, you can get started. This is a ballpark number to look for just for you to jump in and start investing, because that's also so important. I mean, we need to start.
I mean, I always tell younger women, the first thing they should do is put the absolute max they can into their 401k or 403b. So they should definitely do that. Okay. But that is not going to be enough, because, you know, sort of the government rules is they don't let you sort of really maximize the amount that you're going to put in. So your 401k or, you know, 403b or even your IRA is not going to be enough to carry you through retirement. So, but that's the first thing you do. Absolutely.
Right.
But then the next thing women really need to understand is to do a taxable investment portfolio. It's really critical. Listen, I have had a number of women clients, elderly women clients, and they went through World War II, right? They, they didn't work maybe, 50% of the time because, they had their kids, that a lot of them went back to work later in life. So they didn't have those big retirement funds, right? They made it through retirement by having their own investment portfolios with dividends that they could use as income. And so I really tell people, get started, as soon as you can. Have your emergency fund. You should always have that. Maximize your 401k. And then the next thing you should do is the investment portfolio. It really should be done in that order. But, they're always surprised. But I have this, so much money in and I was like, it's not going to carry you. It's not. And so the sooner you get invested, right, particularly by your early 30s, you really should be, sucking a little bit of money every month away. Just look at it as a little deduction. And you can set up, investment accounts that are directly tied to your savings or banking account. And it just goes through. Think of it like a credit card payment. I tell people, Lord knows we have the American Express card payments all the time.
Well, that's right. And we always say it's an investment in your future self, and your future self will thank you for it. So it is like your credit card payment. You're going to pay those on time and get that money in there. So you need to think of it as you're more important than that. So
and now that you are spending your money in things that you believe in and things that you want to change in, it's like a whole power cycle that you have moving, and then you're bettering your future. I mean,
so win all the way.
That's what we have to do. Got to win all around.
That women with the social responsible investing, they kind of get excited about investing rather than, most people say, well, what, the financial advice says, I'll take the money and I'll invest it. It gets you to have your own stake in the process.
Your voice.
And it brings more power to your money. It's not just about you anymore.
It's your core values. You're living your core values. I think it's awesome. I love it. And I appreciate, Beth, you explaining it to us and showing us all the different types of investments there are out there and what they do with the money. So it's so empowering.
There's literally now about, 300 different investments in social responsible investing. There's a huge platform of it, and there's all different ways that you can do it. And so it's just, it's just a wonderful opportunity for people to look at and not ignore.
Wonderful.
That's awesome.
That's great.
Well, anyone can please feel free to reach out to Beth if you have any other questions or if you would like to get started in social investing. Her email is bpwahlig@mraasv.com. She's part of the MRA advisory group, and she is also one of our Purse Strings approved professionals. So she has a page on our site as well if you want to get her contact information. So Beth, we really appreciate you being here today, and we'll be back again next Monday for another Money Monday.
Easy for you to say.
Thank you, Beth. Thank you, everyone, for joining us.
All right.
Thanks, everyone. Bye.